Hello and welcome back to the next episode. My name is Rachel Noble and I am the creator and founder of For Noble Women. For those of you who do not know, For Noble Women is a platform specifically built for women in mind. We talk about femininity, manners, etiquette, and today we're going to be talking about finances and keeping your finances together and in order. So today we've invited Lacrisha Thomas to our platform. She is the coach and founder of EmpowerHER firm. Welcome to today's episode.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate having me today.
No problem. So, both of us, we know each other, but the audience does not know you. So I do want you to introduce yourself before we get started. And I really want you to get yourself together because today, if you don't have your notebook, you're going to need it or rewind it 500 times because she is going to really whip you into shape. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Lacrisha Thomas. I am coach founder of EmpowerHER firm. So what we do at EmpowerHER firm, we coach women in business. Women in business on really how to it's money mindset. Right.
Yeah.
So really what I dig down in the guts with women in business is learning how to attract versus chase money. Right. And we dig down deep with it, with mindset, self-development, and teaching them how to really learn to attract abundance versus the chase and avoiding the mental distress when it comes to finances. That's what we dig down and do.
It's definitely a distress that can be very, very stressful. But before we tap into all of that, why did you get started in finance specifically? Like, did something happen major? Or,
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to tell us your whole life story unless you want to, unless you're going to do it. But what
Yeah.
is it that really started you in finance and having the love for that?
It's a really long story, but I'll give you guys a little bit of it to really get to know who I am. So this journey started 11 years ago. I'm from Philly, lived in Charlotte 10 years. I started selling cupcakes out my car. I had this big dream and vision of owning all these bakeries, couture cupcakes, what everybody knew me in Charlotte for.
Yeah.
2017, I transitioned to I was a life insurance agent. And being a life insurance agent, having my son with me with football, basketball uniforms on, in the nighttime, in these strangers' home, doing applications, talking about money and legacy and wealth. And it was just mind blowing of what our people didn't know. And I kind of was like, I was on to something. And then I was really still building me at the same time because my rock bottom year was 2015, the worst. And I was like, I'm not going back to Philly. What am I going to do? So it was just, I just kept going and kept going. And I just kept thinking, like, why are we not having these conversations? Why am these families home with my child, like try to grind it out, not go back to home? And I'm like, this is what we need.
Yeah.
So from there, I was like, this money thing is about mindset, legacy, wealth building. This thing is about mindset. So I had to dig deep and do a lot of self-development along with therapy to figure out who I am, where did I come from, like what really was my money story. And I started to learn that doing life insurance. And I feel like that was my shift 2017 from, I went from selling cupcakes out my car to decorating tables and cakes, life insurance 2017, and then just started coaching women. And then I was like, okay, my target is women in biz. So I did a lot of pivoting and shifting
Definitely.
to get here. And I was like, now it's time to create a firm because all of the services that we offer, we're doing behind the scenes, but we're not operating as so. So that's how we got here to get this firm, because I didn't realize when the pandemic hit that this thing is just not about coaching. I added on a credit repair company. I added on the mindset planner,
Yes.
a tax professional. So I was like, this thing is bigger, and I want to involve other professional women to do what they do, and I love to coach women.
And so just the way that you speak about it, it says so much about you. So I'm loving every bit and every moment of it. And many women may be watching this today and they're kind of confused and just unaware and do not know, like, how do I actually get started in finance? How do I understand what my finances are so that I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, or I'm not enticed by social media and what social media has to offer and feeling like I need to compete with everything that she has on from top to bottom. So understanding your finances from a business perspective, or just even personally, is most important. I know that there's a lot of women out there that are looking to men and the value of men to give them everything that they need. What do you say about that? Because I think it kind of weakens a woman a little bit when she's a single woman that is heavily depending on what she can get from men. And then we'll talk about the married women next, because that's where I come in. That's where I come in at.
Yeah, right. So I have a really personal story behind that, and I love to share it. I'm really personal and open with my story. I don't have a problem because I know that it's going to help someone listening, because it's super transparent. So I would say, first and foremost, when it comes to finances for women, we have to figure out when we're tired enough to be able to say, okay, I need to do the work to figure out who I am, because it's time to live my truth.
Yeah.
It's time to live my truth. And that's what a lot of women run away from. They shy away from doing the work. It's self-development. It's a lot of discipline, relentlessness, commitment. It's so much. And we rather run and do what's easy.
Or they're taught something. So a lot of times, I mean, face it, we're taught from our mothers, and it really comes from how you deal with your finances with your mothers. Not to say too much or to talk about women out there, but there are mothers that are writing checks that are not what they should have been when we were younger.
Yes.
There are women that are using one credit card to pay another one, to pay another, and is never really financially free.
That's true.
And so because of that, they're trying to seek who they can get this from, where they can get these funds from, and that's when we're devaluing ourselves, is what I was trying to say in the beginning. No.
We never really learned. So for me, the reason that, that whole thing of the self-development and finding out who I am, in order to be able to say, hey, this stuff that I've been doing is not right, or maybe I just didn't growing up learning enough. So it's like, okay, I got to figure some things out. And I think that it takes a lot of avoiding life distractions is what women aren't able to do because of the social medias and so forth. Knowing who you are and having your own identity is so important. And I will say that because from my experience in my marriage, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I was like, a lot of women need to hear this, because this is what they love to do. They love to not have their own self-identity in their marriage or in life, period, in general.
I'm so glad that you said that, because many times women, they end up in marriages and they've been married for so long that they forget who they are, and their only identity is in their husbands sometimes, unless your husband allows you to be yourself and allows you to flourish and do whatever it is that you want to do. But for me, from a financial standpoint, and hopefully my husband is not like, why did you say that? But I have always been taught to have your own, no matter what, have your own money, make sure that no matter what, you have something put away, or that you are saving enough for a rainy day. And I can definitely say and attest to the beginning stages of my marriage, I really thought that that was true, that I had to have my own, and one day you're gonna leave and I need to make sure that I have money to take care of my kids, not knowing that I was actually probably hurting my husband by saying something like that, because all he wanted to do was provide.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
For sure.
So how do you kind of think about women having their own identity without creating a division within their marriage?
So I would say what I experienced and being in a marriage and letting my ex-husband do everything. I paid no bills, like barely cooked and cleaned and all these things, right? He was the guy that done everything, right? And I was just living my life. I have a degree in healthcare. That's what I done before I came to Charlotte. And I was just working, traveling, shopping, getting out of the hood as many chances that I could see possible. And I would say, Rachel, it crutched me.
Yeah, you were a kept wife.
It crutched me. He was better. Now I'm talking about, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. He was much younger.
And he was better with finances than I was back then. I wasn't worried about finance or nothing like that because the environment that I was in, it was like outside, you know, looking for the next best piece of entertainment. And, you know, it was hood, to be honest. It was hood. He was better at finances than me. And I got super comfortable. I would say it crutched me when I moved to Charlotte 10 years ago. And then it was no marriage. And then it was like, okay, you make the money, but how do I figure out, like, gosh, he was doing all of this.
Put it in order. Exactly.
Like, how do I make all of this happen throughout the course of the month and still have money?
Yeah.
So I had to figure out, that's when it was like, this is serious. So I had my son, and I was like, already was focused on self-development and mindset, but then it was like, now I need to know how to manage money.
Yeah.
So I would say from my perspective, doing that and not really having an identity in a marriage and just going on about what my parents say he's supposed to solely provide, I got comfortable.
Yeah.
So then when it was time for me to live on my own, I didn't know how to survive. I had money, but I didn't know how to make the money work for me.
Right. So in this moment, there may be somebody that pauses and resonates with both of us on different avenues, a divorcee or a married woman, or just someone that is fresh out of college and just has no idea on what to do and where to start, not understanding the importance of their credit and understanding how to put away for a rainy day in a positive way. How can we start changing our mindset and focus on that? Because school is not teaching you about your credit score. They're not teaching you. All you see is, you know what, hey, I'm going to go to school, or hey, I'm going to start a business and I want a Range Rover. I want to be able to drive around in a G-Wagon. I want to wear Louboutins every day. That's what I want to do. And they're actually diminishing their credit as they're doing that. Whereas a feminine and a noble woman understands her finances, and she understands how to keep her credit score where it needs to be so that she can help her husband or help herself or to build her family. Exactly, and to be of value in that way rather than trying to seek something else. So
I would say for women that are out there in the space of trying, because first of all, Rachel, this is a hard conversation.
It's very hard.
This is
because people don't want to listen. How are you telling me what to do with my money?
People tell me all the time, like, how do you get people to talk, like, oh my God, you're selling cupcakes, but like, how do you get people to talk about money? And I say, I was just relentless. I'm a person, I love to hunt. I love the process. I love to do the work. Yes. So for me, I was not giving up. I've been having this money mindset conversation for a very long time. And it just was like God, and like the year before the pandemic, everything just changed. And it was so crazy, so fast. But people ask me, how do I get women so open to talk about money? It's because I stay consistent. Right. Because I openly share my journey and what I come from, and they were able to relate to me. I wasn't just out selling them something. I would say it's time for us to get comfortable talking about who we are, what we come from, knowing what we stand for, and then being open to what we don't know.
Right.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. And one day I was talking to my brother on the phone, my youngest brother. And you know how they always look up to you, right? And you never know really who's watching you to that capacity. And he said to me, Rachel, why do you work so hard? It's like you're constantly working, you're constantly doing something. And I said to him, because I know what it's like not to have.
Yes.
And I never, ever in life want to feel that way.
No.
And so I'm like, I'm going to not work to a crisp where I am completely exhausted, but to work just knowing that I have what it takes to provide for my family, or to, you know, to be the co-chair with my husband, to
And
be
be able
there
to
for
play your
him in
part.
any way that he needs to, right,
And
and
be
to
able to
and to
play your
play that
part.
part.
Yeah.
But I just think that a lot of us, we're afraid to have those conversations. Like both of us, we're Black women, we're women of color. There are women of other nationalities and of other races that are going to country clubs or going to have afternoon tea, or they're going to restaurants and they're talking about finances.
And that's all they talk about.
And that's all they talk about.
What investment we can
Exactly.
jump on.
What can
What
we
are we
do? Who can
doing?
we give back to?
Yes.
What kind of philanthropic work can we do? Whereas we are veering away from that, and then we're staying at the bottom of the totem pole. And I'm not making this a race thing. So I do want to lay that out on the line as I'm speaking about this at all. It's mainly a woman thing.
Yes.
And what can we do to kind of just get past that old history and to start pouring into one another?
So definitely, figuring out who we are. And like you said, get open to having those conversations. Definitely being in spaces around other successful, powerful women who you inspire to be. It doesn't mean, oh, I want to be like them, like, in all of these aspects, but get in bigger rooms, become a part of something that's bigger than you. And that's definitely why I created the money mindset meetups that I do in my office once a month, because that's what that space is for. It's a safe space for women to be able to come and connect, be who they are,
Yes.
no judgment. Like, let's have a nice time, create content. And what resources do you need for your business?
Exactly.
You don't just need money for your business. A lot of women think they like, oh, I need the money. No, you need discipline.
Exactly.
First and foremost, right? You need a strategy. We want to be able to help each other and be a valuable player, but also while we're making the money and like, I love the work. What am I really doing?
Absolutely. You
Do
need
I
a
really
SWOT
know
analysis.
what's going on? Are these money making tasks that I'm
Yes.
doing? You know what I mean? So I would advise all women to be more open to going in those spaces that are bigger than you. Go around other women, get out there. And I think that, well, I know for a fact from personal experience, when you position yourself around better, even by default, it's going to make you want to get your life together.
Exactly, that part. And a lot of people do not, a lot of women in general,
Yes.
do not want to humble themselves to feel like that they can learn.
They have
I've
to.
learned so much from you.
You have to.
I'm just like, listen,
You have to.
always, and it's okay to do that.
Yes, you
and
have
while
to.
you're doing that, be sure to log in to your etiquette program so that you know how to position yourself in rooms with big wigs. How are you presenting yourself from
Yes.
top to bottom? How are you speaking? How are you networking with them? Your place setting, do you know where everything
Yes,
is? Because
love it.
believe it or not, those women of higher power and higher status, they're looking to see what
They're
you
gonna
have
be
together
watching.
and what you
They're
do not.
watching.
Exactly.
They're watching.
So I think that that's very, very important. I love that. Let us see your book. And I want to know all about, this is the money mindset planner, mindset and money. And I want to hear a little bit more about this because this is where I feel that women can get started. And I know you start off by 7 steps to dream big. Tell us a little bit about that. Because again, they may not know where to start.
You have to dream big. So just like we talked about, positioning and investing in yourself to get in those bigger spaces. And don't be afraid to do it. Like, want women to know, don't be afraid to do it, because I gotta say this, and this is just, it's totally real and it's transparent. When we make the investment to pay $500 to $1,000 or $1,200, $1,500, and we book that trip and we go out of town to that business seminar, and we get in these rooms with women that we don't know but are successful, they pour into us.
Yes.
And I have to say this. We are looked at so differently when we're in these type of spaces versus other spaces, because those women they're thinking like, if you invested to be in here, then you're somebody. And you may not even feel like you are anybody when you're in there, but that's just how it goes. I had to learn that. I learned that, like, oh my gosh, I like downplaying
That's that
yourself,
little
like I'm too
pride thing.
smart.
That's the imposter syndrome we
But
were talking about
you never know how much
earlier.
value you have. I start talking
Absolutely.
and build relationships. They like, oh, like, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm really here to learn and grow. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but they just know like you're here, so maybe this is somebody.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's super important, I feel, to dream big because I feel like we don't do it enough.
We do not. We
We
do
live
not.
an autopilot
Or,
life.
mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I would say within our culture, when you're dreaming too big, why are you trying to do that?
That.
Oh, you think you're so much better, this and that. When I tell
Yeah.
you, I really believe in manifestation. Where I live
Yes.
now, there is a gate. My husband and I prayed in front of that gate every day for a year. Every day for a year. And when I tell you that God was able to bless us with that exact home that we were looking for, it is real.
Yes,
It can
is.
definitely happen. And so I just feel like sometimes people, we're not dreaming big enough. And then we have to take the action steps in order to allow those dreams to come true. Now, you just can't dream and just say, okay, it's just
To
going to
do the
come.
work. We
This
have
is
to
just
do the
going to
work.
come, Lord. Please give it to me.
No, we got to figure
No.
out what work it takes to get it done.
Exactly.
So just setting, like, first, let's be able to open our minds big enough to say, I want more than where I'm currently at.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like, you don't have to downplay yourself because, like, I just feel like you don't have to be average if you don't want to. And there's nothing wrong with that. The first thing is, but a lot of what holds us back from that, Rachel, is our environment.
Yes.
Like, always say the people, places, and things. People, places, and things, right? It holds us back from or feeling like we're even worthy or deserving or like, can I really reach and touch these dreams? Like, we help so many minority women purchase homes every year through our program.
Beautiful.
Like, it's always like, I'm so uncertain, I don't know what to do, but it's always from lack of education, resources, and having that trust.
Exactly.
So dreaming big is very, very important. That manifestation, writing down your dreams and goals, because I also too, when you write, I feel like I'm still a writer. I
Yes.
love to write, and that's how I manifest for me.
Good.
I'm a writer.
I feel like it makes it real.
Yes,
right? It
we
makes
have
it
to write
real.
it because we have to be able to see the vision, and I have a lot of those areas and bullets in my planner. That's how I manifest a lot everything in my life. I'm big on whiteboards. I'm big on creating out strategies and plays. My mind just, like, for me, I have to write it down and then say the big goal. Okay, if we're talking about home ownership, or maybe we're talking about manifesting a husband, what does that look like for me?
Right.
And we have, like, writing it, like, what do we have to work on with ourselves first, even when it comes to the money? If I want to be successful and, wealthy, what is my definition of that? What does that look like for me? And then it's like, okay, this is what I'm working with. I got to figure this thing out. And if we aren't able to figure it out, that's when we need to kick into play.
Yeah.
I'm going to go invest in myself and get me a coach or somebody to help me do so.
Right. And so inside of your planner, I can see you have everything written out. And this is something that many women do not do.
No.
Is sitting there and really actually writing down, because look, you're paid on Friday and Sunday it's like, okay, how am I going to last another 2 weeks? Because they're not writing down how much is rent or utilities, their cell phone, insurance, life, groceries, the children, any type of memberships, tithing, all of these other things. And that's another thing, that tithing and giving, they're not writing that down.
And Rachel, that's bare minimum.
It's bare minimum, yes.
That is a bare minimum budget sheet right there. But I'll tell you, bare minimum has changed people's lives because they don't even know bare minimum of what they're working with from a day in, day out when it comes to income versus expenses.
Right. And you're not living excessively.
Yes.
So I think that that's most important as well. So I really love this. And I wanted to call you in because women understanding their money is something that I cannot stress enough, is understanding your money and where that comes from. So I do want to give that to you. How can we find you?
You can find me. The website is www.empowerherfirm.com. On Instagram, I am Finance Muslima. And on Facebook, it's I am Finance Muslima, Lacrisha Thomas. Yeah, so you can find me all social media platforms.
Yes. So when you are ready to get your finances together, don't call her without the facts. But I always love to give people their flowers while they are here with me. And so I definitely want to say thank you for coming.
No problem.
And I have something for you. Thank you, babe. I appreciate it. So this here is for you, my love. I
I
always want to
appreciate you
shower
so
you, of
much.
course,
Thank
and
you.
take these, cut those up. That just adds a little extra flair and femininity to your home.
I appreciate it.
Fresh
Thank you so
florals all the
much.
time. You are more than welcome. And so I thank you today. And for those of you, again, today is time to get your finances together. After this episode, I want you to take a seat back, say a quick prayer to yourself, to God, and ask Him to pour into you. Look over your finances, pray over your finances, pray over the knowledge to be able to financially get things together for you and your family. Remember, all of us have started somewhere. You're not the only one. You are not alone. And so until next time, stay fabulous. Thank you for coming in.